Hello and welcome to Killer Kitsch Lizzie and our very first Patreon project. I hope everyone is as excited as I am. I've been working on this for quite a while and I'm really happy that I'm finally launching my first Patreon pattern. So I have dropped a couple of hints of what it is, and I'm sure you figured out by now that it is a beret. This is called the Snow Queen Beret. That's what I've called it. It is a pattern that is much sought after and extremely hard to find. And by sheer luck, and I mean that, I found this pattern. So in a moment, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this pattern. I just wanted to also give you an idea of what is going to be coming up in Patreon each month. I'm not going to tell you exactly what those patterns are. I want that to be a bit of a surprise still, but you can look forward to Haslam projects, other knitting projects, some draft at home other than Haslam style projects. There are going to be a few themed things. There's an upcoming Miss Marple themed project. Not every single month you're going to get a bonus, but there will be another thing that happens during the month, as well as every single month I'm going to be giving you a knitting pattern. It is going to be a as-is knitting pattern, but it will be vintage. I, over the years, have created reproduced a lot of vintage patterns from all the vintage magazines I have, and I used to have an Etsy store, which I don't anymore. In addition to the main project for the month and the additional bonus content, which may or may not be an actual pattern, is what I meant earlier, you're going to get that actual knitting pattern. So hopefully you will enjoy those. And yeah, there's going to be many other types of knitting, sewing, and other crafty things that are going to happen every single month. So I hope you enjoy being part of my Patreon family. A little bit more about the pattern. So as I said, it is based on a very, very highly sought after, very hard to find pattern. It is from the 1940s. It is knit flat. Now, the original pattern called for DK, which you can still use. And when I was testing out yarn, which I'll explain in a second, I did find that different weights of worsted worked a bit better than DK. I found DK made the beret a little too tight. What Bunty is wearing right now is what is considered a light worsted, which is very similar to DK. And there is quite a size difference. So if you do want a smaller beret, this is what weight of yarn you're going to go with. Now, how I changed up the pattern so that it will fit a variety of sizes of heads is, rather than do decreases and increases to change the size of the pattern, I did a lot of testing with using worsted wool yarns and different weights. So worsted, like many other yarns, the weight is not just one. Worsted could come in a light worsted, a medium worsted, or a heavy worsted. And those are all similar to, well, the opposite ends are DK and light worsted are very similar, though I do suggest you do a swatch to see if there is a difference. There could be even a difference as much as like 2 stitches, but you want to double check that. And heavy worsted is very, very similar to bulkier Aran. So I actually went through and I have the samples here. So this was light worsted, as I mentioned. This one is the medium worsted, and I'm not sure if it's going to show up as dramatic between these two, but the black, sorry, this was a medium worsted, and the black was a heavier, almost Aran. Yeah, you can sort of see the difference. Yeah, you can see the difference. So using the different weights of worsted gave me 3 completely different sizes. Even the yeah, you're not going to see on the black, but even the circumference in the inside is different. Well, can't really see it as well, but it is definitely different. Well, sort of. You can sort of see it. So the circumference of the headband is different. And if somebody is a intermediate beginner, intermediate, this is going to be a great pattern for you. Even beginner, if you're like a adventurous beginner. It is a very fast knit, though looking at it, there is a twisted rib around it. You would think that is going to be complicated. It is not, trust me. I'm going to insert a tutorial showing how to do the twisted rib after this, just so if anybody is still confused or having a struggle with doing the twisted rib, that should hopefully clear things up. And as I said, this is knit flat. This is knit on fairly large needles. The ribbing, like the ribbing for the band, is done on smaller needles. I think it was, sorry, I should have had this in my notes, and I did not. It is done, I mean, it's in front of me here, but it's not on my cue card. Yes, so the band part, the ribbed band, is with 2.75 millimeter needles, which is, I believe, a 2 in the US, 12 in Canada or the UK, and 2 in Japanese needles. And then the rest of the beret is knit in 4 millimeter, which is, I believe, a 6 US, 8 Canadian or UK, and 7 in Japan needles. And because you're using fairly decent sized needles and worsted, this knits up really quickly. I think now I am a fast knitter. I know that. I've been knitting forever. I think I knock off one of these in 2 evenings. If you're a slower knitter or new, it will take you longer. What else can I tell you about this pattern? I might have covered everything actually. Yeah? So those are the main bits about the pattern. I have knit this over the last, well, since I got the pattern. These are just 4 of the ones I've knit. I actually knit quite a few of these last year because I got this pattern, yeah, it was about a year ago. Well, a little more than a year ago. So I got this pattern and I knit a lot of Christmas gifts of this. So a lot of people in Toronto have this beret and they got it for Christmas. So it makes a great gift. You can do it in multiple colors to match many of your outfits. Unfortunately, I didn't have any more of this blue because I did want to knit this blue to match this. That will still happen. I have made a scarf to go make it a set. So I've got scarves matching all of these. So yeah, it is a fun, quick project. It is our first Patreon project, which I'm very excited about. I hope everyone knits one of these or several of these. Now, this is February. This is also the month of love and Valentine's and Galentines and Palentines. So there is a bonus project coming. It'll be coming right before Valentine's. I'm not 100% sure exactly which day. It'll be a surprise. And I think it's a cute little project, and a very quick little project you're going to like. It is themed. So yeah, that is my intro for this very first project. There are many more fun projects coming, and following this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to do the twisted rib. Additionally, in the PDF pattern, which you're going to find attached to this post that comes with this, the PDF pattern also has a little section that breaks out the twisted rib section from the entire pattern. I mean, it's still in the entire pattern, but I've also put it in its own sort of like tip box to sort of, if you want to practice that, which I do highly recommend, swatch and practice the twisted rib before you actually start the beret. But I have just the instructions for just the pattern for the twisted beret in a separate section in the PDF. Hoping that will help you out. Let me know what your thoughts are below. Let me know if you're having any difficulties making this pattern. I am here to help. I'm here to do my best to make sure that you have success in making your first Patreon pattern. Covering my mic up. I'm here to make sure you have success in your first Patreon project. I hope you love it as much as I do. I had a lot of fun figuring out how to put a bit of a more modern twist to the pattern. And yeah, tag me on Instagram or any of the socials. Also use the tag Snow Queen Beret on all the socials as well, so I can find it and share it. And let's get to that tutorial. Okay, hello. So here is the tutorial on how to do the twisted rib. So the twisted rib consists of 4 rows in order to get the rib, or the twisted rib pattern. And each twisted rib has 5 stitches in it. And hopefully you can see the green on the green okay. And what the end result's going to be is, I'll show this again at the end of the video, but you're going to get this. This is going to be what the effect is going to be for the twisted rib at the end. Okay, and I'm using worsted wool, medium worsted for this one particular, and the 4mm needles, which in US is 6, Canadian, UK is 8, and the Japanese needles is 7. So the first row, the pattern consists of a purl 1, knit 2, purl 2. So we're going to do, and I've already knit a bit here. So purl 1, knit 2, purl 2. And this is row 1, by the way. Okay, and then again, I'm going to show it again. Purl 1, knit 2, and do your knit and purl stitches however you've been taught. I was taught to come in front for my purl stitch and go behind for my knit stitches, but other people's techniques are like the opposite. So anyway, so the section I'm doing again is purl 1, knit 2, purl 2. So that is your first row. Oh, by the way, I'm using circulars just because they actually are easier on my hands. This is knit flat, so you can use regular knitting needles. Well, I guess they're all regular knitting needles, but you could use straight needles as opposed to circulars. Straight knitting needles actually hurt my hands, so that's why I'm not doing it. Okay, so row 2 is knit 2, purl 2, knit 1. So you're going to knit 2, purl 2, knit 1. Okay, let's do that again. Knit 2, purl 2, and that is my circular needle hitting the table. Knit 1. Okay, so that is row 2, and again, knit 2, purl 2, knit 1. Okay, so here we are for row 3, which is going to be the part where we twist the rib. Okay, so to do the twisted rib part, we're going to do a purl 1, the next 2 stitches are knit stitches. Hopefully you can see this okay. What you're going to do is you're going to knit into the back of the second stitch. Let's see if I can turn this enough that you can see it. So you're going to knit, this is harder to do on camera, into the back of the second stitch. Oh, would help if I had my yarn wrapped the right way. So you're going to knit into the back of the second stitch on the left hand needle. Do not pull that stitch off yet. Then you're going to go back to the first stitch that was on the left hand needle, and with your right hand needle you're going to knit that stitch as well. So these are the 2 knit stitches here, and then you see that you have stitches here still. You're going to pull those off of that needle, and then you're going to purl 2. Let me show that again. So you're going to purl 1, then you're going to have 2 knit stitches. You're going to knit into the back of the second stitch that's on your left hand needle. See, into the back. Then you're going to come back and you're going to knit into the first stitch that's on that left hand needle. And then you're going to pull those 2 stitches off the left hand needle. And then you're going to purl 2. I'll do it one more time for you. Purl 1, you're going to have the 2 knit stitches. You're going to knit into the back of the second stitch on your left hand needle into the back. Then knit into the first stitch still on that left hand needle, and then you're going to pull those 2 stitches off the needle, and then you're going to purl 2. So that is, get that cable out of the way, your twisted rib. And that is in 4 rows, and the actual stitch itself consists of 5 stitches. Let me just show you 2 of the berets. So this is one of the berets. You can see the twisted ribbons here, and on this side that is that twisted rib. See it here as well. So this is in the light worsted, and this is in a medium worsted. See the difference in the... Actually, sorry, this was a heavy worsted. So see the difference in the circumference between the band. Also, when you stack them on top of each other, the difference in size between, hopefully you can see that because that's white, but this was the light worsted and this was the heavy worsted, which is similar to Aran or bulky, and this is similar to a DK yarn. And then I'm going to just show you a little bit more about this beret while we're here. And a close-up. You have a bit of ribbing here. Then you start the twisted rib, which ends here. And then what happens is you move into just a straight rib and you start doing your decreases until you get up to, this is a rib 2, like 2 knit 2 purl. Then when you get up here, it's a knit 1 purl 1, and then that continues up to here, and it is knit flat. And then you can't see it now because, you know, I've pulled it up, but you pull it up. It'll say in the instructions, like the yarn, you'll pull it up so that this is tight, and then you will seam it up. Where's my seam? And then, yeah, and then here's my seam. You seam it up. So that is the twisted rib. Hopefully that was clear as mud. Well, here I am again. I hope you found the tutorial helpful. If you have any questions about the pattern, please message me or comment below. As I said earlier, I am here to make sure that you have success in this, our first project, and all future projects. I have, as I said, really exciting and hopefully fun projects for you coming up very, very soon. Until the next time you see me on here, stay kitschy.